You're listening to Parents You've Got This, the expert guide to parenthood, the complete guide to fertility, pregnancy, birth, baby and parenthood. This podcast is proudly supported by Mistela, a natural origin skincare for babies and children, recommended by healthcare professionals. Mistela by Parents' Side since 1950.
Hi everyone, welcome to our 100th episode of the Expert Guide to Parenthood podcast. Freya, can you believe we've done 100 episodes?
I can't believe it. How lucky we are to have had the very best experts in the business here to provide everybody with amazing expert advice.
Well, thank you for listening to our 100 episodes. There's so many things about parenthood that we didn't realise we didn't know about. And it was so great to have all of our experts in talking about the different topics that we have wanted to know ourselves. It's kind of like free expert advice for us.
It's so great, right from pregnancy all the way through. So keep your topic suggestions coming as well, because there is nothing that we don't have the expert for.
Well, we thought it would be kind of fun. We thought it would be fun for us to be the experts today. Well, we're not experts, but we have done it before. I've got 4 kids and Freya's got 3. So we thought we'd ask each other some of the questions that our viewers have asked us over socials about what we know about parenthood or what we would have done differently. Because I think that's sometimes a bit of a key about parenthood, which are kind of lost along the way. I think, when we're all in a village together, we could have seen our grandparents and parents and other people, doing parenthood. And then it gives you a sort of an idea about, what things you don't want to do.
And things to try as well. Yeah.
So we've had everyone write in their questions that they wanted to know about parenthood from us, and we're going to ask each other. So let's see how we go.
So, Christy, what is your favourite part of parenthood?
Oh, I love being a mum. I was just thinking about this the other day. There is nothing like being a parent. It is completely and utterly exhausting. And every night I fall on my pillow, I'm like so tired.
Your pillow or someone else's pillow?
I know. I often fall asleep on my son's pillow every single night. And my daughter actually comes in and takes a selfie of me drooling as like a running joke, because I'm just so tired by the time the end of the night is and he needs me to lay on his bed. But when I am there, I'm thinking, it is just amazing to be a parent, to watch a little person grow and become a human being, but I just love their cuddles. So I'd have to say cuddles, laying in bed and cuddling them for sure. What about you? What's your favourite part?
I think that's probably mine too. I was just reflecting as well on how the whole way through I'd always mourn the end of one stage, or when your little one is no longer technically a newborn anymore, and I'd feel really sad about that. But then they just grow, and they just your whole bond just grows and keeps changing. And I was thinking that actually, I feared what would happen once they were children, and that maybe I'd lose that closeness with them. But actually I feel like it's even more, like we're even more deeply entwined together. And it is, you're right, it's just taking the time for those like morning or evening snuggles, just to be with them and enjoy their littleness or their bigness or whatever stage they're at, because it doesn't last forever, and soon they won't want us to cuddle them. So that's probably the stage that I'm going to mourn the most.
I know, it's about that mourning of them getting bigger. And like for us, I think because we're baby people, we do love that and miss that special time with them. Whereas I know some of my friends are like, oh, thank God they're bigger. Like they really didn't like that stage, or didn't feel like they could connect with them as well at that stage. But I think for me too, I think when they're little, it's that physical touch, that oxytocin of cuddling them that you can't necessarily get as they get bigger. And it's about finding ways, isn't it, to still get that.
And just to have, I think, that feeling that, there's just this reciprocal bond, which is a really beautiful, amazing thing that, I think neither of us will ever take for granted. It's, really wonderful.
Yeah, okay, so we love parenthood. What do we hate about it? What do you hate about it, Freya? Come on, there must be things.
As much as I love the cuddles, I don't love them at 4 a.m. I don't love them at 2 a.m.
Yeah. That constant need of being on.
And I think just if you need a night's sleep, you just can't get it, even when your kids are older, because there's always something with someone. The fighting, they're all different personalities, but honestly, it is just, I think we're coming out the other side of the school holidays, but gosh, it's a challenge, isn't it? And to feel that you're split in however many pieces for however many kids you have. Like, I feel like I can't do the right thing by all 3 all the time, and I don't know how you do it with 4, because it's just not physically possible to be able to do that. So I think they're the things I really struggle with. What about you?
Yeah, and I think you're never alone, but you're lonely.
Yeah.
I know that's going to sound crazy, but I don't know, you're so free. You don't realise how free you are without kids. You know, I'll just go down and get some milk. Might just, go out for dinner. You just don't have to.
11 a.m. brunch. I mean, when has that happened in the past 12 years?
Yeah, whereas I feel like I have to plan everything, or I've got to rely on someone saying yes, like, do you want to go for a walk? It's just because I can't leave them home by themselves. And then if they don't want to go, that's really hard. Like when, if you're sort of like a free spirit and you want to get up and go and do something, I think that's really hard. And again, I'm the same with like being split in 100 different directions and feeling sometimes tired. I hate being a tired person. I've got a lot of energy, but sometimes I'm just like, what? You want something else? I've got nothing left to give.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Yeah, it's so hard. I think that's also where the guilt comes in as well, when you feel like you've got to have this, this battery that never runs down. But as people, we just need to recharge sometimes. And I think probably if you and I were being really honest, that's probably one of our biggest, not failings as people, because that's a bit dramatic, but like you and I could do a lot better at recharging our own batteries. I think we're always very conscious of our kids and our families, and sometimes that means that our own battery doesn't get charged how it should. So if I could have a New Year's resolution, actually, or maybe for the next 100 episodes, that will be the thing, Christy. Yes. You and I are going to try and charge our own batteries a little bit so that we can not feel quite so tired.
Oh, I think that's every parent though, isn't it? Isn't that why they say the oxygen mask's got to come down for you from a plane if you're like, no.
Totally.
You got to do yours before you do your kids. But in life, it's really hard to do that, isn't it? But you can't give if you've got nothing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Okay, so what about one of the questions that someone wrote in, they were saying about what surprised you most about parenthood, Frey?
I was surprised that my body and my baby didn't just know how to breastfeed, like that it was actually a learned skill. And I was also surprised with breastfeeding that it wasn't just like the tip of your nipple that went in their mouth. I didn't realise it was like the breast that was doing the feeding. So things like that, I realise now, I did fail Year 9 science, but I thought I had an understanding of like anatomy and the body, and to me it really has surprised me about how amazing our bodies are, that they can grow these little people, that they can hopefully, feed and nurture these little people out the other side. And yeah, I found that really fascinating. What about you?
Gosh, I actually don't know. I don't know. I think the different stages of parenthood sort of surprised me. I think that it's always forever changing. It's not like, I guess I'm a really prepared person, if that makes sense. I do a lot of research about things and I like to know what I'm doing at every step of the way, whereas parenthood is organised chaos. And I guess for me, it was the realisation that doesn't matter how planned I could be or what a great schedule I've set up for everyone. If you've got someone that's sick or someone that doesn't want to do it, you have to roll with that. And I think that was a bit surprising, I think.
And really hard to get your head around. Like when something like that's such a central part of parenting is the opposite of your personality, that becomes really hard, because then how do you plan out your day? You're an active person, you like to do things and know what's happening, and to have the combination of those things is really challenging.
Yeah.
What is the thing about each stage that you've loved the most? What did you love most about having a newborn?
Oh, definitely cuddling them. I love cuddles. And the smell of them, that's going to sound really daggy, but just smelling it and just, I don't think I ever let anyone hold the baby, even Heath. I just carried it around everywhere with me. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I think for me it was that feeling of just having another being that was always there, and whether you're wearing them in the carrier or they're asleep in the bassinet, or just being able to have this little person that's like an extension of yourself just right there. It was a really amazing thing.
I think we should also do the hardest part. What was the hardest part about a newborn?
I think it was the loneliness. It was bizarre. I mean, I had a beautiful friend that was on mat leave at the exact same time, and I don't know how I would have got through without her. But I really felt like when Matt went back to work and then it was me and the baby, it was just the days were really, really long, and I was really conscious of not wishing them away, and I was so grateful for the situation that I was in. But I just, I felt really lonely. And I remember thinking, when Matt was getting on the tram, oh my gosh, you get to sit on the tram. Like, imagine, sitting on the tram for 20 minutes. Like, that would just be the novelty of the small things that you realise all of a sudden your life isn't going to necessarily, be like that for a little while. What about for you?
Yeah, but it's interesting because I think they say that if you're trying to, like, deregulate a person, you would muck up their schedule, you would give them no sleep, you would give them no nutritious food, and you wouldn't let them get out and get any sunshine, right?
Yeah, all the things.
And that's actually what happens when you become a parent. You get your schedule completely knocked on its head. Then you've also got this perfect little person that you are totally responsible for. And I still remember the moment when we had Hope and we went up to the nursery and we were up in our room, and I remember the midwife coming in saying, how is everything? And I remember Heath saying, what do we do with her? And she's like, oh, she's just there,
Right. Yeah.
And I still remember buzzing the midwife because I wanted to go to the toilet in my room. It's like an ensuite, so they could come and watch her. And they're like, just I'll leave the door open.
Totally.
But it was just that huge feeling of responsibility, isn't it?
Yeah. And for months afterwards, I remember saying to the maternal health nurse, how do you go to the toilet? Like, when you're home on your own with your baby, how do you do, what's okay to do, And she's like, you just put the baby down, the baby will be fine. Make sure they're in their cot or they're in a safe space and it will all be fine. But it's just that total flip. And even the car ride on the way home, when all of a sudden, not that Matt speeds on the roads, but you go from driving at a normal pace to all of a sudden having this precious cargo on board, and you're just feeling all the feels of just the huge responsibility of having an extra little life in your hands. And it's a magical but terrifying time.
Yeah, totally. Oh, I know. Breastfeeding got me for a 6 as well. I'd probably say that was one of the hardest things because I had to pump, and that was just so hard. I pumped every 15 minutes for a whole year for one of my babies, which is crazy town. I don't know.
With other babies as well. You didn't just do it with the first.
No. So that really, I wasn't prepared for that. Or the no sleep, I think. Yep. Really hard. I had one non-sleeper that nearly killed me. Mm-hmm. Yet I went on to have more. So no weapon.
Yeah, that's right. Clearly didn't.
Okay, so we've done the newborn stage. That was the hardest. What about an infant?
I think the infant, it was always that last play of the day that I found hard. You've read every book, you've played every game, they've slept, maybe they've had some solids. You kind of feel like you've ticked the boxes, you've gone for a walk, you've done all the things, and then it's like, oh God, it's only 3 o'clock. How are we going to get to bedtime? Do we read everything again? Do we play everything again? What is it that we do?
Yes.
I found that really hard. And I think that's when it becomes so important that you try and set up your village, right? So you have your other sort of the people that maybe live around you or in your orbit that you can get together with to share that sort of moment when your little ones have still got energy and they're awake and you're wanting to savour the moment, but equally you're just all out of ideas, so you can share the burden together.
Yes, I think that really helped me in parenthood when I came up with a kind of a schedule, so it wasn't completely rigid, but it was every morning I get up and I go for a walk and I have a coffee and I see the coffee people, even though it's they become your peeps,
Totally.
And then I'll organise my mother's group were just amazing, catching up with them all the time. So I think making those daily things, every Monday we're going to go to story time, on Tuesday we're going to go Jimbaroo. It was just one thing to get out in the fresh air every day was really helpful for me.
Definitely, absolutely agree. And I think those things are sanity savers for the whole family, right? And everyone can just be that little bit happier. I think it's really good.
What about toddlerhood, Frey? What do you think the hardest thing and the best thing about the toddlerhood stage is?
Oh, toddlerhood is hard. I think
toilet training, hello.
Toilet training really hard. Behaviour things.
Oh yeah,
I remember Rupert got bitten once, and then sure enough, he got his arm bitten because he was holding on to something that another kid wanted. And then sure enough, when he saw another kid with something he wanted, he bit them, thinking that was sort of what you do. I think that's really hard, doing when your kids are learning and growing and doing things that are normal, sort of and age appropriate, but as parents we're I don't want my kid to turn into the biter, or I don't want my kid to turn into the runner, or you feel like the stage is going to last forever, but actually it's so fleeting. And toilet training, oh my goodness, that is just whole minefield on its own, which is why we have Monica.
Yeah, that's right.
We give Monica to everybody.
I know. Oh, but that's interesting you say that, because I really felt the eyes of other people.
Yes.
When I became a parent, and their expectations about what I would be like. And sometimes you just need to get out of there.
Totally. Parenting in front of other people is really hard.
It's so hard. Or other people's kids.
Yeah.
Like you see someone else hits your kid, and also to the eyes of parents. I learnt this like when I had the difference between 1 and 4 kids. Like I would have been like, oh, my dear little girl would never have done that. But then once you've got like a whole rabble of you who rock up at the playground, and you've been around a long time and you've seen a lot of things, you have a lot more forgiveness, because you realise, that child is not necessarily the biter forever. It's just a stage, and it's our job just to help them through that stage.
That's so true. I think you do become easier on yourself and on your children as you go along, which is interesting too, because we do have an episode on birth order with Deirdre Bradner, and it's really interesting hearing her insights into the ways that children are, because when I think of that toddler stage, I feel like I definitely parented my eldest much more strictly.
Yes, same.
And as a result, maybe that is part of why he is more rule following. I don't know, it's interesting when you delve into those things.
Oh, isn't it? I know. And I also think hindsight, becoming a toddler parent with my last one, I think I'd had Christy on. That's a great episode you should listen to, where she talks about emotion coaching. Like he's just so much better. He'll go to school and say, my heart really hurt today because I missed you so much, and I just couldn't do any schoolwork because I was missing you so much. Just so much better at expressing his emotions. But I think that was because I learnt to be an emotion coach. Well, definitely not as good as Christy had, but I learnt about that.
Yeah, you learnt the skills of it.
And then I became a better parent because of it.
Yeah, and then our kids have those skills as a result of that experience, which is such a gift for them as well.
Yeah. Okay, what about kids? Kindy in school? Yeah, kids.
Yeah. Gosh, it's tricky, isn't it? I think that I find this a bit tricky with how your kids are with you versus how they are with other people. And all of a sudden when they're at kindy in school, they're away from you for longer in the day than you have with them.
Yes.
And that balance shift is really hard, because inevitably we kind of get it's the best and the worst parts of the day, but you have them either in the morning when everyone needs to get out the door and there's that pressure to get out the door, and then at the end of the day when they're really tired, it gets harder to carve out those sort of special moments, like being able to go, with your toddler to the park.
Yeah.
It gets really hard to have those non-pressured moments when you can just be together, and I think as they get older, that just seems to be getting more and more impossible. I mean, I look at our weekends, my friend, and they are ridiculous now, running around after our kids. And I'm really conscious of the fact that time is so important, and I don't know I think that's what I'm struggling with most, is how to factor that time in that is just to be together and to be connected without having to be somewhere else.
Yeah, that's really tough, I think. Yeah, definitely. But also, when you're talking about that, my grandma gives like this great advice, saying that if they're perfect with other people and horrible with you, that's the way you want it.
Yeah. That's right, because they can let it down, right?
Yeah.
They're tired, they've held it all together all day, and then finally they don't need to anymore.
So sometimes when they're behaving as horrible as they are, it's because they actually really love you.
Yeah.
They're feeling really safe and connected with you.
Yeah, you got to think of the good. There was something that you said before as well, which might have been when we were talking about doing this, but when it comes to what you remember of your parenting experiences, so what would your tips be for parents who are maybe just starting their parenting journey, but they're feeling already not sort of emotionally attached to it, but they're really wanting to savour the memory of it and to remember things as best they can? What would you suggest they do?
So I've got a great tip. Open up an email account and for your child and start putting random things in there. And it sounds random, but you can give it to them on their 21st birthday or whatever, but you really do forget. First time they said something, or did they say something really funny, and you just sort of write it down, and on their birthday give them that email account because you do forget along the way because you're so in it. And I remember feeling like people just didn't want to tell me. I thought, why do they not want to tell me when I'm asking when they rolled? Or why didn't they want to tell me when they slept through the night? You know, it was like I felt like they had this hidden secret, not wanting to give it away or something. I don't know. I always felt like people were trying to keep it a secret. Yeah, but they weren't. It's just that they couldn't remember. They're so tired. They're so in the parenting throes of things that you just can't remember.
So that is a beautiful thing. Then you can send them the email.
Yeah. What's one piece of advice you would give yourself now with what you know for when you were a first parent?
I think to not put as much pressure on myself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What would be yours?
Yeah, it's so true. Mine would be to not worry about being a perfect parent because, you know, no one's perfect. And why do we possibly think that we should be perfect at something that we've never studied for, you've never done before, you're in the complete deep end, and it's the most important thing that you ever do? Why you think you're going to be perfect at it? You're setting yourself up for failure, aren't you?
That's right.
And I think embrace the chaos. I would say embrace the chaos and know it doesn't last forever. It really does feel, particularly with your first one, that you're in this forever. They're going to be in this stage forever. They're never going to sleep. They're never going to feed. They're never going to make friends at school, whatever. But, you know, all you need is just to love them up. And
that's right. And it is all just a stage, all of it. Like the good things are a stage, the bad things are a stage. With my preteen this morning, I was just saying to him, you know, with the smirking, like where did the smirk come from? And please can the smirk finish now, because I don't want to set myself up for another 6 years of smirking. But I know it's a stage.
That's what's coming.
Exactly, that's
eye
right.
rolling and
yeah, that's right. But it is all stages, right? And so it is that that awareness of the fact that it will pass.
You know, embrace the chaos.
Yeah. All those things.
Okay, my last question for you that came from our audience was, what's one thing that you wish society knew more about parenthood?
It's funny, isn't it? I feel like when you look at something like parental leave,
yes,
it's so amazing. And it's going in the best possible direction, you know, compared to what we had when we had our first babies, when both our husbands were back at work within the first week of us having our babies.
Next day, he started a new job. I gave birth and he went to work.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas now that's less common, and that, you know, there are many more companies that are doing amazing things when it comes to parental leave. But I think that also comes with pressure for parents to need to be able to do it all.
Yes.
And I think that's really hard. You know, I know that I just wanted to be a mum, but I felt like because I should work and I should keep my jobs going. And then in between my babies, I remember delivering my second baby in hospital and I'm doing my work emails. You know, it's just ridiculous when I look back at that. And I just wish that there wasn't that pressure on women to have to feel like they needed to work as well as to be a parent and to do a good job at that as well. It's really hard. What about
my
you?
nan, bless her, 96, you can do anything, but you can't do everything, dear. And I love that. I hold that with myself all the time, that advice that she says that. And also, you don't control them. So, like, if they're at the park and they're hitting each other or something, it's like, you know, you don't control them. So it sort of gives you a bit of off about, you know, you're doing your best and you're trying to do your best. But mine is a bit similar to that. It's just more the juggle of being a parent. Whoever came up with, let's give kids 4 weeks holidays, whereas some kids have up to 17 weeks of school holidays. So you're supposed to work and your work goes to, like, say 9 to 5. Well, school is 9 to 3. Like, we're set up to fail. How are we possibly supposed to do all of these things at the same time? We've got to keep the lights on, you know, but there's so washing and all of that. And I guess, I wish society could see that. I don't know how we'd do it differently or whether...
No, that's right.
You know, but there's got to be a better way. Otherwise, you're forever going to have mums and dads feeling like we're failing before we've even started, which is not fair for the kids who are ultimately on screens, which we don't want anyone on screens, but parents are on screens trying to do the work, trying to tell your kid not to be on the screen. Like, the whole thing is, like, quite crazy when really we're trying to raise people. And I also think society needs to acknowledge that a bit more. Like, it's incredible. You're making a person, a whole person.
You're raising a person, you know, that counts for so much. You're creating the next generation.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge.
And yourself, like, you completely change as a person when you become a parent, like that old saying, what is it? You give birth and you become birth to your new self as well at the same time. And so, I think my biggest advice is just be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
And don't go down a Google rabbit hole. Instead, have a look up the Expert Guide to Parenthood podcast and check out the episodes there.
And come to a Parents You've Got This masterclass. I mean, that's why we created this, so that we could support parents through all the stages, drawing on our own experience and our amazing expert team.
Yeah, that's right, that there is actually a whole host of experts there to guide and support you.
A huge thanks to Mistela for sponsoring this episode. Mistela empowers parents throughout their parenting journey with education and honest conversations from pregnancy and beyond. Mistela has plenty of parenting articles and resources on their website. Visit mistela.com.au.
Well, thanks so much for tuning into our 100th episode of the Expert Guide to Parenthood podcast. We've had an absolute blast. We have learned an incredible amount from our amazing expert team. We want to thank our incredible podcast crew, Dean and Tim. Thanks for making our days so fun and putting up with the two of us. And we also want to thank our incredible sponsors, Mistela, who are natural origin skincare product by Parents Side since 1950. For all of your incredible support, we've loved your products and we use them still with our families today. But thank you for encouraging conversations with experts about parenthood, because I think if we all know what we're doing, it all makes things a little bit easier so we can all feel like we've got this.
Join a Parents You've Got This masterclass today to be prepared, excited and educated for pregnancy, birth, baby and parenthood. Visit www.parentsyou'vegotthis.com.au and sign up for a masterclass today.
The information provided in this podcast is general in nature and is intended to support, not replace, a discussion with your doctor or healthcare professional. Parents You've Got This take no responsibility for any medical decisions made by individuals based on the information provided in this podcast.